After watching its homeland being slowly torn apart by war and hatred, the Napralats family decided it could take no more.
I was scared of the war and I decided to leave my hometown and my country.
3 weeks ago, Dennis Napralats, his wife Suzanne and 10-year-old son Igor migrated from the city of Banja Luka to settle in Newcastle in a quest for a more peaceful life. But the Napralats, whose ancestry is a mixture of Croatian and Serbian, have not been able to leave the worry of war behind them.
I'm just scared because I left my family there. I got my parents, I got sisters, and I got best friends. I really don't know.
As Yugoslavia slides further into civil war, Suzanne fears for her country's future.
I hope and I think that the situation is going to dissolve and somehow the peace is going to prevail, because it has to prevail.
Marija Babošević, a former president of Newcastle's Croatian Association, has just returned from a 2-month visit to the war-torn republic.
2 months ago, the fighting was over there. And people is angry.
Mr. Babošević holds little hope for Yugoslavia to remain intact or for Croatia to escape unscathed.
My country be destroyed. And but I believe in my nationality.
Seatbelts have been compulsory for more than a decade now, and most drivers buckle up by habit rather than by conscious decision. But there are still a few that don't obey the rules, and for them there's a painful reminder in the shape of an $80 fine. It's not only adults that police are targeting, they're especially concerned that children are properly restrained. The consequences of neglecting the smaller passengers can prove fatal. Police say that motorists in the Newcastle and Lake Macquarie regions are observing the law, but the operation is still netting a significant number.
In the last 24 hours, there's been over 30 people being reported. Considering the figures last time, it was a lot higher.
Police are advising passengers in taxis to buckle up, and there's a reminder that lap belts can only be worn if all the sash-type belts are already being used by other passengers. The runners who arrived to a civic reception at Newcastle Town Hall this afternoon are only one of 3 teams in the Round Australia run. The 23 firemen are divided into groups who take turns on a 24-hour rostered relay. These runners will actually tackle the next leg of the Great Aussie Run from Newcastle south to Sydney. The other team is still pounding along the highway, due to arrive in the city tonight. The local fire brigade is doing its bit by ferrying fundraisers from the Kiwanis Club around local night spots this evening.
That there will be a fire engine with a support crew going around the local clubs and pubs with the supporters from the Kiwanis Club, asking for everybody to donate as much as possible for a good cause.
The Kiwanis Club set the fundraising efforts rolling by presenting a cheque for $500. The proceeds will go towards cystic fibrosis research, and the runners have already collected sizable donations on their 17,500 kilometre relay.
No one would dare have imagined that the wooden spooners could dominate the Bullets the way they did last night. Right from the opening tip-off, it was all the Falcons. From Bullock scoring off a Johnson pass or young Neil Turner making yet another reject, everything was going their way. And Troy Trevelyan was brilliant. The teamwork impressed the huge crowd, who were revved up for the finale. Loggins tried hard for the Bullets and Sibley sat with a dislocated thumb. Newcastle steamed their way to a 9-point lead at half-time, and then Kruger took over. But if his offsiders were brilliant, Trevelyan was on another planet. And Michael Johnson helped himself to a 3. At one stage in the third term, the Falcons led by 21, and Turner was all fired up to put the icing on the cake. The last term was a formality, but the Falcons, with coach Tom Weisman willing them to victory, never let up. Trevilian made one last sensational play before the siren. And with that, the Falcons were home, 120-110.
More than a century and a half ago, the steamship's namesake plied the coast with cargoes from Newcastle, but this ship pays its way with passengers. The William IV is off to Sydney's Darling Harbour, loaded with the Hunter's Harvest, and hopes to turn a fresh crop of visitors for Newcastle. The ship will stay in Sydney for 3 weeks, where it will participate in a wooden boat festival and the celebrations for the launching of America's Cup challenger, Spirit of Australia, all the time promoting Newcastle.
It'll be Newcastle's gain. There's lots of people who pass Newcastle by and don't realise what a wonderful area we have down here. If we show them William IV and we show them the produce from the area and we do some publicity for William IV and for the Newcastle and Hunter region, Newcastle and William IV should be the beneficiaries.
The steamship and its crew will embark on the 12-hour voyage to Sydney tonight, weather permitting.
And I'll be there in about 5 minutes. Does that suit you?
That's fine, thank you.
Taxi drivers are bypassing the co-op by distributing their own business cards showing a mobile phone number. For those who don't want to battle to find a cab on a busy Friday or Saturday night via the normal co-op number, the phone cab operators are almost seen as a personal chauffeur. In turn, the drivers build up a regular and often lucrative clientele.
We know the people who we are picking up. They're not going to bash us. They're not going to jump and run without paying. And they know us and our driving standards.
It might seem to be more personalised, but they're just not going to get the regular and guaranteed service that they're going to get by coming through the established network.
Then that's not, we're just watching it, that's
Flames and smoke were seen pouring from a window at the historic building in Lehman Street just after 6 this morning. Officers from the Cooks Hill Fire Unit found a blaze in the cavities between the ground and first floors and also in the space behind the walls. To get to the seat of the flames, officers had to use power saws to slice through the floorboards. The former Cooks Hill Girls' School is being renovated for use as a TAFE college, but as workmen cleaned up, the new college's November opening is expected to be delayed by at least a week. The cause of the fire is unknown at this stage, but there are no suspicious circumstances.
Christchurch Cathedral provided a fitting backdrop to the Requiem. It is expected to be the highlight of the 4-day festival, which will begin in the cathedral on Thursday.
Andrew Lloyd Webber has many famous hits, of course, and musicals, and the Requiem is one of his more serious attempts at music writing, and we feel it has a place in this special celebration.
The only time Newcastle streets and foreshore are this empty is after an earthquake or when the Sydney Rugby League Grand Final is on. The signs were mixed as to who were the favourites, but before the kick-off, those with their ear to the source thought Canberra's green machine would be too mean for the Penrith Panthers.
Who's going to win today?
Well, Canberra, I think.
I think Canberra will win today.
Canberra.
I don't know.
Do you know who's playing?
I think Penrith, but I don't know the other team.
At the Grand Final party on the South Stain, everyone was a marked fan. Wearing their hearts on their sleeves or lapels, Penrith fans slapped on a red sticker, Canberra Barrackers a green one. But at this party, the heart beat red.
I've been giving out 2-1 to Penrith, so Penrith looks like the favourites today.
Revellers at the Newcastle Leagues Club may have been far removed from the Sydney Football Stadium, but that didn't stop them from sharing in the spirit of the game. As the Panthers pounced on their first Grand Final win, their Newcastle fans gave out a victory growl they've been waiting 25 years for.
It was easy to rave about the Falcons' performance as it was some of the best basketball a Newcastle side has put together for some years. Everyone who took the floor contributed, knowing that contracts were on the line for 1992. And with that as incentive to turn it on, the Falcons flew high. Although Wisman was unhappy with the final 3 minutes, one Falcon star had a simple answer.
James Bullock made a statement at the end of the game. We were a little disappointed with our last 3 minutes and how we played with the 21-point lead at the end and only won by 10. And he said, "Coach, we've never been in that position before." And I said, "Point taken. You're right, James." I said, "But get used to it because next year we plan on being there a few more times."
But there was a touch of sadness as the curtain came down on an association that stretches back to 1979 between the Falcons and the stadium, as next year NBL action will be in the new entertainment centre.
It's been a great venue, there's no doubt about it, and I feel I've been part of it all those years, which I have been from day one. Saw the opening game and I wouldn't think I've missed a home game.
I walked in tonight and I felt quite nostalgic just thinking about, well, this is the last time the Falcons are going to be running out here to play a competition game anyway.
So the Falcons bid farewell to the Ken Booth Forum, taking with them a host of wonderful memories.
The centre is an extension of the Japanese language and culture studies offered to primary and secondary students throughout the region. 14 Year 6 classes from Lake Macquarie schools attended the foundation ceremonies of the Martinsville Language Immersion Centre. And if the words ikebana, origami, karate and bonsai don't mean anything to you yet, they soon may.
I've been told that it's harder to learn English than Japanese.
The hunter is seen as the next best thing to Tokyo as far as Japanese learning is concerned. The old Martinsville school and its grounds will be transformed to a little piece of Japan. Tutors will instruct their students in the language, as well as culture and behavioural norms of the Japanese. It will also serve as a staging point for local exchange students, off for a stint in the land of the rising sun. The centre has the support of the University of Newcastle and the Japan Travel Bureau, both hoping to build on a foundation of communication and understanding. The centre should be open for day visits and longer stays next year.
They say humans only use a small part of the brain, but the Americans have come up with a mind-boggling method to challenge our grey matter. Using team-based problem solving, students from more than a dozen countries are developing creative thinking. Basically, students are divided into groups of 7 and given a problem to solve, be it technical or arts-based.
Hi, I'm Joey Dominguez from York, Maine, and the problem I worked on was cause and effect.
This problem required a team to perform specific tasks by using the movement of a billiard or pool or cue ball as the initial energy source. The cost limit was $75 and the time limit was 9 minutes.
And this is the man who devises all those problems, American Professor Dr. Samuel Miklas in Newcastle, to bring his program Odyssey of the Mind to Australians.
We write the problems and then we give it to the schools and then they form their teams and then compete with each other.
Apart from encouraging creative thinking, he's found the program helps self-esteem and teaches students teamwork.
Our educational system, at least in the States, I'm not sure about other parts of the world, has never really placed a focus on creativity. Kids are given things to do and they do everything that has one way of solving the problem or has one answer. They're not open-ended. They don't allow kids to use their imaginations and what have you. This does.
FIME members on the afternoon shift left Tomago aluminium plant just as their counterparts on the early shift had done this morning. The union says the members were locked out. Management says the employees declined an offer to work to new conditions set out by the Arbitration Commission last week.
The people who are working in the area chose not to carry out the full range of tasks and left the site.
The union went to arbitration on Friday the 13th to resolve a dispute over proposed staff restructuring, which would see the loss of about 25 foremen's positions. The company says no jobs would be lost, but the union wasn't satisfied. The Arbitration Commission is now expected to recommend a long-term phasing in of the changes, a proposal which will be considered by the 450 FIME members tomorrow morning. Aluminium production is continuing at the plant with non-union staff. However, a spokesman said that as they were working 12-hour rosters, that arrangement couldn't continue indefinitely. Meanwhile, FIME members at Comsteel have downed tools over an unrelated dispute over seniority and staff transfers. The matter is listed for hearing at the Arbitration Commission on Friday. Members will hold a mass meeting tomorrow morning in a bid to avert the stoppage. Tom Hilston, NBN News.
Newcastle Chamber of Commerce President Scott Derwin says Nick Greiner delivered a responsible budget. There were no increases in taxes or charges, and he believes it has been well received by the local business community. The good news for the Hunter Water Board was the announcement that it will only pay a $5 million dividend to the state government, in contrast to the $10 million payment last year.
We had a surplus just under $9 million, so we're paying $5 million in dividends, and the rest is being ploughed back in the organisation in improving services.
The board was also allocated $18 million to continue the Hunter Sewerage project.
terms of Hunter Water Board, we come out of it quite well.
Department of Schools Regional Director Mark Edzer says the Hunter has done well, particularly in regard to expenditure on capital works. About $6 million will be spent on a new high school at Foster, and work will start on a new primary school at Bonnells Bay. However, in some corners of the Hunter, the reaction to the budget has been distinctly underwhelming. The Community Council believes only $1 million of Griner's recession package will flow into the Hunter.
It's only for 12 months and it's a one-off allocation, so it doesn't really do anything to address some of the deeper-seated problems that the community faces.
Jane Anderson, NBN News.
For almost 3 decades, the Gown of the Year competition has offered not only a work opportunity for the modelling profession, but a chance for Australian fashion designers to gain public recognition. These designs have been chosen to tour the nation from hundreds shown earlier this year at the competition's gala judging evening in Melbourne. 21-year-old local designer Samantha Williams, still studying at Hamilton TAFE, beat far more experienced competition to take out an award. Sponsored by the Adamstown Lions Club, Samantha won the competition's Student Award with this spectacular design. Made from bright pieces of wool, it opens to reveal a tailored dress and matching bag. And should one weary of the coat's design, it reverses for a new look. Money raised from the evening went to the Hunter's Ronald McDonald House.